Right, Rock Addicts, this is DJ Rem from Rock Addict Radio, and I have the band Severed Son on the line. How is everyone doing today?
Alright, we're doing good. Kick ass.
Awesome.
Okay, can we go around the room and everybody introduce themselves and what their spots in the band are, please?
Ladies first.
My name is Nani, and I'm a bass player.
My name's Kevin, I'm the guitar player. Zach on drums. And Rod, vocals.
Hey, very cool. And how long have you guys all been together as a band?
Well, the band's been around for, I would say, almost close to 10 years, but as in, just with the group we have now, probably about two years, I think, coming pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, so when the band initially started up, I guess, what was the whole driving force? I mean, what got the band going in the beginning?
Basically, we just, pretty much everybody was just really into music, and we'd always been, everyone that I knew that was in the band at the time, we all listened to classic rock, and we just, all had that want and drive to play it, and just slowly, like, hey, let's, at first it was just for fun, we'd just jam around and whatnot, and then it got, more and more serious, and you start writing that, you write one song, and then, you're like, man, this is really cool, this is really turning out good, and then, and you progress from there, and we just wrote a lot more, and, but the lineups, we had lineup changes constantly, just trying to find reliable, musicians that are, that want to do it.
They never really got out before. When I met them, they were just still trying to work things out, and like Kevin said, they were going through lineup changes. And then when I met them, it got a little slow, I guess, and it took probably another good year before we actually started jamming together. Me and Kevin and some others that were in the group at the time. And after a long haul of shit, even after I met them, it took us another good year and a half to find a decent drummer and bass player, and then they ended up moving away, and one moved away, the bass player moved away, and the drummer ended up needing to take off because his wife had multiple sclerosis and he needed to take care of her. And but then we found a couple other people after that, and then they kind of flaked out too. Again, another bass player moved away, and that's why we got Nani like handcuffed to the table and shit, so he can't go nowhere. And then we got Zach in the band playing drums, and we've been rolling ever since, about the last 2 years.
Okay, so, I have a few tracks you guys sent me, and I've been playing them on my show, and I know everybody really digs your sound. I mean, you guys definitely rock. These aren't off an album, right?
No, we just did a 4-song demo.
Okay.
We haven't done an actual album yet. Like I said, trying to get everything together, we always we would get to that point where we're ready to record, and something would fall apart. And then finally, with this lineup, we were able to do it. And so we just kind of threw the music out there, and people are like, hey, we get it every once in a while. Where can we buy that or whatever? And they're like, hell, we'll give it to you.
Right.
Go download it from here or whatever. Like the Reverb Nation site, you can download it for free. And then, of course, you can always contact us, and we'll send it to you if need be. And I actually get emails from people that want the physical CD. And I mean, right now we don't have anything printed, but we just burn them off and send them off, and say, here, have at it.
All right, very cool. So, do you guys have any? I mean, have you started thinking about the future and actually doing like a full-length album?
We actually, the guy we originally recorded it with, he. Unfortunately, that whole process was kind of a nightmare, and the mix and master, when you're sitting in the room, it sounds fine because it's coming through his speakers, which are all mixed down and all that. But when we got it in the car and left, it was the version you're hearing now is actually a version that we paid for again. So we had to go to another guy and have him remix and remaster the songs.
Jay Stanley.
Just to get them to sound the way they sound now. The guy's a true professional. And so once he gets his studio done, we're going to go in and actually do a full-length album. We had intentions of trying to do that the first time when we went in, but like I said, it was kind of a nightmare with the first guy, so we only got 4 songs out of it. But
yeah, Jay Stanley Productions, they just moved their studio from where they were for 10, 15 years, I think he said, or whatever it was. and they just moved to another location, and they're still in the process of putting together the whole studio. I mean, for mixdown and everything, it was no problem because he has his control room set up already.
Right.
But for the whole recording thing, we're going to go back to him and do it right with him, and probably put out, like, hopefully, like a 9-song album or whatever, CD.
Okay, well, cool, guys. I wish you the best of luck with that. I hope everything sounds like things will go smoother the second time, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's going on with you guys right now? I mean, what do you guys have lined up for shows and stuff?
We actually have a show this evening, so this is kind of a cool day for us. We do the radio interview, which we're totally psyched about that. It's always something really fun to do. And then tonight we'll play a show, so we'll definitely be pumped. We did have some shows that were supposed to happen. We had one on the 27th of October, but that got moved. We're still kind of waiting here on a date, and we did have one a couple days ago, but it didn't really pan out. It was kind of they booked metal bands for a place that does not want metal. It was so that didn't quite work.
It was lame.
But,
very lame.
As of right now, we've basically just been making a bunch of contacts, kind of that future thing you were talking about. We've been sending our demo to every record company and anybody we could imagine. Between me and the bass player this week, we probably sent them to 15, and getting contacts for the House of Blues, to try to book some of these bigger shows and stuff like that. And anything we can do to just try to push us further in that market. It's hard now, though. I mean, it's so hard because there's just so many people out there that think they're, a metal band or they're a good band that you got to rip through all this stuff. And
half of these venues nowadays, if you're not playing covers, man, they don't want to bring you in there. It's amazing how many people out there want to hear covers, which you can hear on the radio all day freaking long.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
From the original artist, and it's like, covers, really? I mean, you want to pay for something that you can listen to for free? I mean, give these original bands a chance, I mean, there would be no cover bands without the original bands anyway. So
right,
like,
exactly.
Out next, hell, they've already killed the freaking record labels and shit with the whole internet thing. So
yep.
But I mean, in a way, at the same time, that's kind of cool because back in our day, you bought a tape or a CD, you bought it, if you only wanted one song, you had to buy the whole damn thing,
Right.
And then they come out with singles, and of course they never had the song on there you wanted, and. So I mean, I don't knock the internet. It's just they need to find a way to where it doesn't kill the industry and make it. I mean, hell, even the big bands out there, the bands that have been around for years, are having a hard time. So it's like they got to do something.
Yeah, and definitely that's a whole nother conversation.
In its own.
Otherwise we're definitely trying to push as hard as we can on, the way that you used to do it, just hitting the street, hitting people's emails, phone numbers, whatever we can to try to push ourselves out there and, get more known to the public and hopefully try to grab some fans. That's another hard part is, fans nowadays, everything's so disposable, They'll like you for a minute, and the next thing you know, it's just like, there's something better coming down the pike, So we're really trying, though. We're pushing.
Right. Well, and that definitely, I know what you're saying about the whole disposable thing. Then the problem is now that the technology is so good, and I mean, you can set up a recording studio in your bedroom and record your music. So there's, the market is just flooded with bands out there.
And I'll tell you right now, we're the kind of we go out and we'll hand out flyers still. We'll still walk down the street, hand out flyers, or go to venues and see people hand out flyers for a show that's coming up or whatever. I mean, we try and hit the street and give things out and get people to figure out who we are. And we've gotten a hell of a lot of response on Facebook from radio interviews that we've had before. And
right.
Just putting the music out there, and then from shows, of course, too. We get people to hit us up, and we got people wanting us to come to places, and unfortunately, right now, it's just not feasible. Hopefully, in the near future, we'll be able to get further than Florida, You know, I mean, we played up North Florida, you know, in the Panhandle area, but that's about as far as we've gotten so far.
Definitely. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck in getting out there and getting to more states, because definitely that's the way to get yourselves out there and heard.
Right.
Okay, so how did you guys come up with the name Severed Son for the band? Where'd that come from?
Kevin will answer you that one, I guess, or Zach, or one of them. They were there for it.
Oh, God. Severed Son. Oh, not really all that too big of a deep story. But, basically, yeah, we went through a couple names. I mean, you know, of course, we started out with the whole, you know, me and Kevin really just started out with some really stupid names. You know, of course, you always start out. And then I guess we really kind of settled on Severed Son. It really kind of struck a chord. You know, it's really kind of sounds deep, I guess, but it's just it's a catchy name.
We've actually had a lot of people say it's real catchy. I've had people ask me if it's Iron Maiden's Seventh Son.
Seventh Son, yeah.
But it's not. It kind of sounds like that. And if you ever listen to that song, you'll probably get a good laugh after you hear our band name, and then hear that, you'll think that Bruce Dickinson has nightmares about our band and sings Severed Son. I'm the Severed Son. You know, so but it never came from that. I mean, Iron Maiden's a killer band, but it just kind of came about and it stuck. We at one time had thought about actually changing it when we had so many member changes that, you know, maybe the name was cursed. But we just eventually just kind of stuck with the name, and I think it's nice and catchy. You know, it's not like those, you know, I'm not going to say it, but a lot of the hardcore bands, you know, their name's like 6 miles long. It's, you know,
Right.
So we just wanted something short and catchy, you know.
Very cool. Okay, this next question, I'd like if everyone in the band can respond to this question, I'd appreciate it. So the next thing I would like to know is kind of who were everyone's influences growing up, and, you know, what made you want to do this?
Well, mine was more of old school, sort of like Jimi Hendrix, Jump Up the Stars, also like a lot of jazz like Herbie Hancock. And I grew up playing bass in school, so I played a lot of jazz, and so I started out in jazz and then gradually went into rock and then metal. So,
for me, this is Kevin, the guitar player. For me, it was kind of like I used to ride around with my dad, and when he would go to work when I was younger, we used to listen to basically the classic rock station, you know, the Black Sabbath, the Leonard Skinner, all that. And then as I progressed and got older, I have 2 older siblings, so they were listening to the, you know, the Typo Negative, the Morbid Angel, and all that. I got more into more heavy, and so eventually, just knowing the right people, I was like, hey, I want to pick up the guitar and try it out. And then as I struck a few chords, I just kind of got addicted to it, and then ended up taking lessons for a long, long time. I would say like some of my huge influences would be like definitely like Yngwie Malmsteen, Dream Theater, Fear Factory. You know, I do like the Typo Negative and stuff like that. It's not really an influence for me, but Iron Maiden, Megadeth, old school Metallica, you know, just Arch Enemy, a lot of those old bands, you know, they were just, to me, much better writers than nowadays. They had stories, you know, that were in their songs, and the way they put songs together was just, you know, it wasn't about like, oh, I'm going to play it 90 million miles an hour, and that's heavy, because Led Zeppelin was technically heavy back in the day, and it wasn't fast. It was just the tone and feel of the song. But I would say those are a lot of my influences, especially I'm big into the guitar solos and stuff like that.
He likes playing with his twanger.
You know, it's like you spend years in lessons, you know, you kind of want to show what you've learned. So I've always been, you know, real big into that whole guitar solos and technical writing, and especially the grooves and hooks. I'm a huge fan of Black Label, of course. Zach Wild's the man. So those are a lot of my influences.
Okay, this is Zach. I'd say, of course, I grew up, you know, had the rockin' 80s mom, you know, she had to listen to.
He's lying. He hasn't grown up yet.
I haven't grown up yet. One day my balls will drop. You know, we grew up on Eagles, you know, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, all those very, very awesome bands. You know, one of my major influences was, of course, you know, Neil Peart, Vinny, definitely back from Pantera. Neckbeard, I don't know. Yeah, I love Raymond from Fear Factory, probably one of my favorite drummers of all time. I really, I just rose down, started playing. I started to play with, a family member. My mom had a fiance at the time.
Did they lock you up for that?
Yes, actually. They locked him up. But we, God, way to make it weird, man. Naughty quick. But I love playing. I love having that good groove to my songs, even if it's a heavy beat. I still like to throw a little bit of groove in there, so that way you got something to tap your foot to. That's my main thing.
All right, now that you're asleep,
No, I'm still awake. I'm here.
Zach's got that voice that's just like like singing a lullaby, something.
Bueller.
Hey, this is Rod. I grew up, old school Metallica as a teenager. Pantera, God rest Dime, of course, and I was privileged to be able to see them live several times. Shoot, man, old Megadeth, Grim Reaper, all that stuff back in the day. Anthrax. Before that, growing up, my dad was a singer back in the day in a band. It was before my time, but I used to hear the stories, but it was singing like the Kingsmen, Louie, and shit like that. But it was still really cool, that he did it. And he was pretty active in his later years singing. Not my kind of singing, more of church singing, and I don't do church singing. And my uncle, my uncle was a guitar player, and he was a fan of Black Sabbath. I can remember riding in his car and listening to Black Sabbath on a damn 8-track, I'm giving up my age on that one.
The old 8-track player in the car. Sweet.
Yeah, in a car.
Flip that bitch over.
And, he used to listen to all that, man. The Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and all kinds of stuff like that. And it kind of influenced a lot. And as I got older, like I said, I listened to all those other bands. And then when I was probably, about 13 or 14 or so, somebody heard me singing along to, I think it was like Kill 'Em All or something, and asked me if I wanted to be a singer. I was like, sure, why not, give it a shot. And then later on, I took some lessons and learned a little bit more of how to breathe and all that good stuff. And been doing it ever since. Been in a couple different bands, and then when I moved to Florida, I met these guys and put it together from there, and here we are. We're still going, and hopefully, it doesn't die out on us, and we can get out there and really push our stuff, and hopefully people like it. We really take a lot of pride in being able to play, and people like the music, and really get into the show, and there's no better feeling than somebody cheering for the music that you wrote, and we just appreciate it when anybody comes out there and it comes from the heart. It's not any kind of fake thing where we just say, we thank you, we really appreciate it, and then move on our way and forget about it. A lot of times we'll remember faces. We might not remember names, but we'll remember faces. And eventually we'll probably remember your name. So Maybe.
Especially if you're a groupie, right?
That's what we keep out here, man.
I have a groupie that was attached to me all the time, so I'm good.
Okay, so how do you guys define success for the band? Where do you guys really want to be in a couple years with all this?
To tell you the truth, I would love to be, I don't know if you're familiar with a band called Dream Theater. I would actually like to be at just about that level. You're touring the world. You're not Metallica huge or anything like that, but you're making enough money to where, you're paying for your house, you're paying your bills, and you're basically doing it with your music, and just, you kind of got an easy, not an easy tour, but an easier tour than you got 17 months of these back-to-back shows. Just it'd be nice to be big enough to do world tours and pay the bills on it, and get people to actually listen to the music and feel it. That's what I would say about that big. Of course, it would always be great to be that huge band, but at the same time, if we ever got that big, we would still be, I would say, kind of like Pantera. Like, if people came up to the tour bus and wanted to party, we would be that band that would be like, hey, come on the bus. Because, you can't ever forget where you came from, So no matter if we ever get that big, hopefully we do, we'll still be that band that people could come up to us and just easily, ask for autographs or hang out with us. We wouldn't care.
Very cool, and I wish you guys the best of luck with that. And kind of along the same lines of all that, where's a good place for people to go to find out more about the band, to get to know you guys better?
One of the good places, you could either go to severedsun.com, or you can find us on Facebook, or you can go to reverbnation.com/severedsun. That has a lot of pictures, bio. It's got all our songs, and it also will. Yeah, I think if you can link, all of our pages are linked onto it. That also has, when we get upcoming shows, they're automatically loaded on there. If you want, so you can hit us up at severedsunmusic@hotmail.com. That's direct email to the band. I mean, whatever. We're there for the people. So if they want to talk to us, we'll answer any questions that they have.
Very good. And so, are you guys pretty good at keeping up with your Facebook page and responding to people when they post?
On it every day.
Oh yeah, we're one of us are on it. We're spot on.
Very good.
We try to be. I mean, there's so many. There's over 1,200 now on there, I think, something like that. So I mean, every once in a while we might miss something, but usually if we miss it, somebody will either email us or they'll resend it,
right?
And we'll eventually answer back. But for the most part, we see everything and answer back. Or, we have a habit of going on there every day and wishing the people that have their birthdays linked up there for the day and just saying happy birthday, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, something as simple as that, is a lot of times they really appreciate it. So.
Very good. So this next question is for the entire band again, so we need to go around the room again. So I'm just curious, if I was to grab each of your iPods or MP3 players or however you guys listen to music, I'm just curious to know what bands I'd find you listening to today.
Let's see, this is Kevin. I don't really use an iPod. I don't like Apple products, but
I'm with you on that one.
Okay, we're not getting signed now.
I use pretty much Pandora. So on my Pandora, you'll find anything from Amon Amarth, Black Label, Megadeth, Nightwish, Dream Theater. There's Slayer. There's Pantera. There's Nevermore. Just Arch Enemy. There's pretty much that's about what you would find on there. Just mostly metal.
Okay, very cool.
I don't have an iPod, but if I had one,
Break it.
I wish I could have an iPod. You will find a lot of old school jazz. I love jazz. You will find metal, as of Metallica, Iron Maiden. You will also find some bebop jazz.
So you just listen to CDs and stuff? I mean, is that how you listen to music?
Yeah, or I go to YouTube.
Okay, cool.
YouTube.
Let's see. Right now, big thing was to Volbeat, of course. Definitely going around between those. I do listen to some electronic music. Just, that way everybody hates me in the band. Try to stick to the old classics too. Of course, I got Ozzy and Black Label. Pretty much just a big assortment of stuff. I don't really try to stick to one genre. I try to keep my types open.
Very cool. Who's your favorite electronic band?
Electronic band, let's see. I have to go around maybe to Nero, or I also do listen to a good chunk of Alex Clare also. Is a really cool guy.
Cool. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but you should check out Infected Mushroom. They are amazing.
Yes, they are amazing. I have heard them.
Okay, next.
This is Rod. Right now, I don't know. anything today or yesterday. Well, I listened to our music earlier because I was burning the CD and I had to test it. But I mean, most of the time in my CD, like if I turn on the radio in the car or something like that, it's usually a Black Label or some Pantera or some Slipknot, something like that, somewhere along that line.
Yeah, well, those bands work. I can dig that.
Yeah, Corey Taylor's amazing.
Yes, yes. Okay, so, I kind of touched on it earlier. There's a lot of other bands out there. It's easy for bands to record their music these days. So, to me, it's almost saturated out there. What sets you guys apart? What makes you guys different? Why should people come to your shows? Why should they listen to your music?
Because it's honest emotion. It's true. It's not fake. When you look at us and you meet us and you talk to us and you realize, these guys are, they're pretty cool. You could hang with these guys. You'll see we're not a bunch of dicks. Or, well, maybe Nani is, but, we won't, I don't think we'll ever fall in that category because we're just not like that. We weren't raised that way. I think that what you get from us is what you see, and we throw it out there every time. And Kevin can elaborate.
I would say definitely, like when you come out to our shows, when you hear the music, that and if you talk to us you'll definitely see that you can feel like our presence known in each song, the way each person comes to the band, and definitely it shows. I mean, we bring it. No keychain amps or anything like that. I mean, we go all out. Got racks, like 2-tiered, 3-tiered amps, cabinets everywhere. Definitely try to go for a big show. The lights, the fog, the whole the intro. Even as a local band, we try to do what the big bands do, and try to bring that whole show experience to people.
Depending on the venue, of course. Sometimes it's impossible to do it, but we still.
It definitely depends on the venue. I mean, we've even played the crowds. We've had gigs where a drummer didn't show up, and then we had to wait it out, and we still played the show at 2 o'clock at night, and there was only 2 people left in there. But even at that time, we still gave them one hell of a show, just to be true to it and to play. Basically, we're just there to play music and do what we love, which is playing our songs. Like when we write the songs, we don't actually, like the way I write them, I never generally sit down and methodically write them out by myself. I like to jam them with the band and write it that way. That way everyone gets a true feel from themselves at the same time, and it's kind of like it's written as a band and it's produced as a band. So it's that way you feel, and when you come to shows, you can feel that groove, that hook. Even if you're not into metal, I bet you could sit there and eventually you're going to start bobbing your head to it because it's just got that feel to where you're going to be sucked into it.
Okay, very cool. I appreciate you guys sharing that. That's definitely very important, all that. So what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you guys at a show that you've done?
Oops, fell out on stage.
That will happen one day.
Oh, that was a dream. Never mind.
That will happen one day.
Let's see. We've had some pretty crazy experiences. We did a video shoot one time, and I won't name the company, but the company themselves was supposed to be this big, professional company, and they had boom cameras and all that, but they started getting incredibly drunk, and between the owner and one of the guys about started a fight. They're cussing back and forth out in front of the place, and we're inside of a club, so it's not. And then the guy on stage, he was so drunk he couldn't tell which monitor was on what side of the stage, so we had a big argument there. I mean, it literally was just a crazy, one crazy experience. Like, we thought, like, this place is just it's gonna be a brawl and fight here in a minute. And just because everyone in the company was so smashed, they didn't know what was going on. And here it's supposed to be this professional company. And like I said earlier, we did have that gig where we showed up at the gig. We were supposed to play last, but it wasn't supposed to be at 2. And our drummer calls us 30 minutes before and goes, "Hey, I'm not coming." And we all were, just, of course, instantly livid.
Right.
It choked the shit out of him. And we called him a few times, tried to get him to come out, but he wouldn't come out. So we just called one of our old drummers, and thankfully he ended up making it.
The guy with the wife that has multiple sclerosis, he came out that night and remembered most of the songs, and then kind of improvised through the others, and he pulled it off, as did we, which was very surprising.
And of course, we've always had shows where Rod has fallen off stage, which was quite hilarious. But the song kept on, the vocals kept going even as he fell. We've had when we had another guitar player at one point, he fell off his cabinet a few times and hit the deck, and his whole rig had fallen over. We had sessions where actually the power blew out and blew his whole amp out, and I had to play the show by myself. Which, of course, now I'm the only guitar player, so it's not a problem. But at the time, it was kind of like that was the first time that had happened. So, and it was right on the spot. So it was kind of like a shit or get off the pot. And so, but we've had some pretty crazy stuff like that.
Very cool, guys. I appreciate you sharing that. That's cool. Okay. Anything else you would like to tell everyone, the people that will listen to this interview? Anything else? Anything that I haven't asked you that you want to make sure people know?
Well, if you like what you hear and you want to get a hold of us, like Kevin said earlier, severedson.com, Facebook /SeveredSon, ReverbNation /SeveredSon, or SeveredSonMusic@hotmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know you like it. If you want a CD or something, let us know. We'll send it to you. You want us to try and get to your area, and you want to give us a venue name or something that you know of around your area that would let our kind of music play, let us know. We'll do our best to try and get out that way.
I would definitely say the one thing that I probably couldn't stress enough is definitely support, your local music. If you find a band that you like, not only go to their shows, but go to their websites and hit like, share their posts, try to help that band out, because that's the one thing that people used to do. They used to go to these shows and they would live the band. They had patches on their jacket, stickers on their car. They talked about the band, they drew stuff, their notebooks at school. It was just like everything was about that band to try to to help them out. And if I could say anything, it would definitely be, support your local music and as much as you possibly can, because it's getting harder and harder to be out there. So, if you could definitely just help out, that would be the coolest.
Also, if this is aired before December, in December, look for us in the Claremont, Florida area anyway, or Orlando, Florida, Central Florida area. There should be a Toys for Tots benefit coming up, and we should be on that. We've done it almost every year since we've been together, and this will be our fourth or third.
I think third.
Third. We didn't get to do it last year because we didn't have a drummer at the time, or didn't have a bass player at the time. I'm sorry. Our bass player. That's when our bass player had moved, so it kind of sucked that we didn't get to do that, because we've done it every year, and we usually pack it in, and we like helping the charity things too. So I'm looking into hopefully doing something. I want to try and get a hold of the the Wounded Warrior Project, stuff like that, because like one of our songs, GBA, I don't know if you've actually listened to it, but it stands for God Bless America, and we really support our American troops and all the people that are fighting for bullshit reasons, but still are defending this country at the same time, and keeping us safe, and do it for the love of this country, because this country is the best country in the whole damn world, and hopefully it's still around another 100 years or so, or whatever, and our kids can grow up and have a life, and they can enjoy music, and I know mine is.
Heck yeah, and all those are great causes of support, so I give you total props for helping, especially helping the Toys for Tots and stuff. That's awesome. Good job, guys.
Kids are the future,
Yep, definitely. And I don't know if you've heard of this organization, but you should check them out. They're called Freedom to Rock.
Yes, we're on their site, actually.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, we're on their site. That's another one that I want to hit up and see if they're going to be doing anything around close to us where we could get to and maybe play.
So yeah, if you can, anything you can do with those guys, that's anything. I'm 100% support anything to do with helping the troops and their families and anything. So anything that bands can do, I mean, because it's a win-win. It gets the band exposure and it does something to help the soldiers. So it's
yeah, I've got family over there, so it hits the heart.
too.
Well, I wish them the best of luck and pray they stay safe, guys. Okay, the very last thing I need to ask you guys to do, if you don't mind, is making a couple radio tags for me.
Oh, God. Not this again.
All right.
Okay, so the first one will be for the station. So you guys, you can just pick one of you to do it, or you can all try to do it together in unison, whatever works for you. And, just say, this is Severed, you're listening to, see, I can't even talk.
So, you can't even do it. Okay, you're listening to Rock Addict Radio.
Yeah, so, this is Severed Son, and you're listening to Rock Addict Radio.
Okay. This is Severed Son, and you're listening to Rock Addict Radio. Horns up!
There you go. That's cool. And then the second one will be for my show, so same thing, but you're listening to DJ REM at Rock Addict Radio.
Oh, I got to do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it now.
All right, this is DJ REM on Rock Addict Radio. Listen up.
Perfect. That's cool. I like it. So, okay, well, thanks again, everybody. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do the interview and talk, and I will see you around.
All right, brother. Right on, man. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Peace.